Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Harold Campos. I'm a principal program manager in the Azure Logic Apps team. And today we will be presenting about integrating 3270 screen menus using the 3DT design tool or 3270 design tool. And for that, I am fortunate to have Robert Beardsworth, lead engineer, principal engineer as well for host integration server and Logic Apps. Robert?
Good morning.
So let's share the content now. Let's get started. So let's start with the 3DT tool. In the past, we prepared a video explaining what it is. So this content, this part, I'll try to go faster this time. Just to mention that the 3DT tool is used to record or capture mainframe application screens, define tasks per screen, and define methods to represent those tasks. This tool outputs a metadata file that the 3270 Logic Apps connector uses when calling an action from a Logic app. This tool has three stages: capturing screens, create navigation plans, and creating methods, and it's available in this location. This location will be also available in the video description. The videos that we have recorded on this topic are the first one was we speak IBM 3270 with a demonstration on how to use this metadata artifact created by the 3DT tool and details on how the 3270 design tool works. Then after that, what we did is we created another video that we included in the advanced scenarios series, arrays and screen collection. We covered arrays and screen collection. What are arrays? Arrays allow advanced features of the tool, such as screen collection and filter content. They are output only, and screen collection that we have included the ability to capture visible screen content and return it as an array of structures. Robert, any comments about this presentation that we did last time?
No, I think the screen content was the most important for a lot of our customers who wanted to be able to parse the output themselves and not just use our built-in technologies.
Perfect. Thank you. So if you would like to watch this video, please you can subscribe to my channel or look at this link. It will be provided in the details as well. One thing to add is that we have an SDK available in the tool that has a lot of examples and readmes that you can use to get yourself familiar with the tool. And it's available once you install the 3DT, right? So we keep updating this tool with more scenarios, with bug fixes, with everything, right? So we invite you to use it, to test it, right, and to provide any feedback as well. Now we're going to get to this advanced this other topic, this new topic included in the advanced operations series, which are called menus. What are menus and why are they important? In TSO, most of the ISPF functions are controlled by menus. To perform one of these functions, only one select the appropriate option. However, dealing with business logic and screens can require situations where you have to do more complex data extraction or selection. You want to, for instance, delete a file and then follow steps that may include typing values next to members, for instance, among other instructions, or find multiple occurrences of a value, or conducting repetitive tasks. If you're using a panel with multiple commands, but not all of them are as simple as enter a single character, for instance, or press function, maybe finding a command on the panel, placing the cursor under the command, and hit F7. So if you have to do activities like this, now you can use our tool to cover these scenarios. Rob, did I cover that correctly? Is there anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much it.
Fantastic, thank you. So now what Robert is going to show us today is a demonstration of how this feature works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add your content, Rob, to stage. I'm going to remove. Please go ahead with the demonstration, Robert.
Okay, sure. So just like in the other talk, the first thing you have to do is make sure that the host simulator a data file. So tools, options, browse, and in the SDK, there is a SHD file called menu test. So if you use that one, and then start the simulator, then over in 3DT, there is a fixed text and simple menu REP file. That's the metadata that 3DT runs off, record and playback. And the one in the SDK already has a method defined in it, but I'm going to start from almost scratch. So the screens have already been recorded and a plan has been created. And now I'm going to create a new method. So let's call the method use menu. And although not important for the menu processing, we'll just fill out a couple of input parameters. These were part of the fixed text demo last time. And as part of the menu processing, what we're going to do is select some entries in a menu and then put a character at the beginning of the line to indicate that we want to do something with them. And because that's not an input or an output parameter, or it's not a, how can I put it? It's not something that really affects the business logic. We actually then have what I call value parameters. So they are not used as input or output. They are, they're not part of the method description really. So what we're going to do is call this match process character. And if all goes well, there is an output which tells us how many of the menu entries we have actually affected. So we're going to call this, let's say, the message. Now the sim host is really quite stupid. It can't do completely generalized screen processing as though it were a host. So I have to set up checks to see if the match characters at the beginning of line 1, the beginning of line 2, in the middle of line 1, and things like that. So the example that I'm going to show will set the characters in a couple of particular positions, and the sim host does know about those, so it should produce an output message. So now that we've defined the input and the output parameters, we want to say that we're going to have a menu. So we'll create a new menu. And let me make this as large as I can. Okay, so menus, if you look at the screen now, we have 6 obviously repeated pieces of information. They're, the data that's on the screen is nothing important. It's just a way of indicating these things. And so the first question that you have to answer is, how many instances of the menu are there, and are they lined up in a particular way? So, for instance, the default is that a menu is one row with no ignored rows. This means that all of the data for one menu entry, say, are in this row, and then there is exactly the same data in the next row, exactly the same data in the row after that. Now, that is not the case for our menu. We have, 3 rows here, and but those 3 rows contain 2 instances of the menu entries. And then we have a line here, whoops, there, that is completely skipped. Okay. So what we do is we click multiple menus across the screen. This means that this is one menu entry and this is one menu entry. And we're going to say that we can select multiple instances. So, you know, it's not just find the first one and do something with it. We can do multiple of them. So now we have to define what the rows look like. And to go through a menu, you need to be able to find something, right? So you're looking, in this case, we're going to look for this value here and this value here. And to define the shape of the menu, what we need to do is work out, or in 4.3DT, which is the first comparison field. This is providing the shape, not all of the comparison fields. So first comparison field is this one, row 4, column 4. Then we have the last row containing comparison field. Now this is a bit tricky because I didn't fill out the whole screen. I happen to know it's row 20. Okay, so it's that one there, row 20. And so that we know how big or how many rows a single menu instance covers, we have to know where the second row is containing a comparison field. So knowing these things, the fact that it's 2 across the screen, etc., and how many, what the first row, second row, and last row are, we know how many instances are on a screen, how big each instance is. Then with the columns, we're going to say that this, on a single row, this is the second comparison field. And because there are only 2 across the screen, we also say it's the last comparison field. So if you had 3 menu instances across the screen, you would click a different place for the last comparison field. And we can process this. Let's say you're looking for the first 3 entries of something. Then we can say, okay, look at that, 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 look at that. And if the first, let's say this one, and this one were the 3 that matched, then we would look at the first 4, right? So this one, this one, this one, this one. But if we check here, then what we do is we go down the column first, right? So again, if only this one, and this one were matches, we would look at this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, before we got 3 matches, for instance, okay? So we are not doing that. So now we need to know what are the comparison fields and where are we going to do something when we've hit a comparison. And so we already have this as a comparison field, row 4, column 4. And what we're going to do is we're also going to compare this value here, the date. So we're going to add that. And when we're done, we're going to insert a character in this field here. Now we need to say what is our comparison, what are our restrictions that we want. So we can edit the workloads for each of those comparison fields. And in this case, I'm going to say row 4, column 4, which is this one here. I'm going to compare that as decimal using the IBM format 99, less than, and I'm going to use a fixed value, 22. And then similarly for the date, we're going to say it's date time. And this is now not in the IBM format. This is in .NET date time string definitions. So it's month, day, year. And I want to look for anything that is not greater than, i.e. less than or equal to, and I'm going to say 01/03/2022. just like in the array processing where we had to know how to stop. So for instance, in this case, we only have 6 instances, and then there is nothing here, right? Actually, it would be one line down there, right? So we say we're going to stop on that first comparison field in the next appropriate row being empty. So we're not going to change that. Then what are we going to do when we have matched? Well, the answer is that we're going to insert the matched parameter. And there are particular ways of getting out of menu processing. So if you have found something on the screen and you marked it, then you may want to use a different function key than the one that is associated with the screen originally. So enter was the what the plan navigation plan said was appropriate for this screen, but or you may want to say put the cursor somewhere or put text somewhere and then press F7, in which case we would use this drop down and choose PF7. But we're going to keep using the plan screen. And then finally, we decide how many instances we are allowed to work upon. And we're going to use unbounded. So we're going to go through the menu till the menu is finished. We've hit every entry, multiple screens. We've done everything that we wanted in all of those multiple screens. Or you can say, only do this for the first 2 entries. Or you can use a parameter to restrict it as well. And again, if you break out early, then you can choose yet another different breakout key to do that. So for instance, if you match on one screen and you needed to press PF7, you would change the match processing here. And then once you have hit, say, a fixed number of instances that you want to work with, you can use yet another different key to exit the menu. But we're going to say unbounded. And now let me make sure that we're using the actual form. And now let's run it. And it doesn't really matter what you put in here, because that's just a dummy field. And the character that the sim host is looking for is a capital D. So let me, again, increase this. So we're going to do the usual stepping through. We've got the first screen. We put some fixed text in. Now we're going to put the actual text. We don't really care about that one. And then we get to the screen with the menu. So now it's going to look for and compare the fields that we said and put in this case, the D. So the word clauses that we entered were that this field had to be less than 22, and this field here could not be greater than 0103 2022. So this one is okay. This one's less than 22. This one is equal to 0103, so it's not greater than. This one is greater than. This one is greater than. This one is greater than. And this one is not less than 22. So it hit 2 positions here. And we're just sending enter. SimHost said, oh, I found 2 Ds. So you selected 2 menu entries. Okay. So if we go back and edit the menu, and say, what was the one I wanted to do? So if we edit this, we say I think I have to get them in order. I'm just not that sure what it really is. Okay, so we're going to say less than 33. I must admit, I'm not sure whether SimHost is going to get this right or not. We'll see. So let's try running it. So I believe that in this case, the first menu, the last entry on the left-hand side should be it. We will see. Okay, so let's see. Yes, so it found that extra menu entry because I changed the less than 22 to less than 33. Okay, it might get the next page wrong. Yeah, so SimHost, the macros that I wrote, is not looking for that last entry. So although it says we only did 2, we actually did 3, as you can see when we were stepping through it. And as before, if you don't really want to step through one at a time, you can use the minimal progress form. And so that looks like this. And so you don't have all of those click next, etc. Okay, that's my demo.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Robert. This is great. So I think with this in mind, so let me share the rest of the content. When you, I think what is critical to mention is that we continue adding more capabilities to the 3270 service provider and to the 3DT tool, so we can so you can continue using the 3270 capabilities that are provided with the tool and Logic Apps to integrate with your green screen applications in more advanced scenarios. So, Robert, thanks a lot for joining us today in the channel.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Looking forward to have you in another session as well. And thanks everyone for your time.